Oh, the irony of it all makes me chuckle every time I think about it. You see, I was there when the Galactic Council made what historians now call the greatest miscalculation in known space. Let me tell you how a bunch of supposedly superior beings got humanity so utterly, hilariously wrong. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council sparkled like a jeweled cave, its crystalline walls reflecting the light of three artificial suns. Ambassador Krell of the Proxima Confederation adjusted his ceremonial robes and suppressed a smirk. Today would be the day they'd finally put these troublesome humans in their place. The motion to initiate containment protocols against the Sol system passes with an overwhelming majority, announced High Counselor Vex Thorian, his bioluminescent tentacles pulsing with what passed for smugness among the Arthonian species. I remember watching from my observation pod, representing the neutral world's chronicle, as the voting crystals glowed predominantly green. The humans' representative, Sarah Chen, stood stoically in the center of the chamber. These pompous idiots actually thought her calm demeanor meant fear. Oh boy, were they in for a surprise. Ambassador Chen Vex Thorian's translator wheezed, "Your species has demonstrated concerning levels of technological advancement in the past solar cycle. The Council has decided that humanity must be contained for the greater good of galactic stability." Sarah adjusted her glasses in archaic human affectation she kept purely for style and smiled. Not the nervous smile they expected, but the kind of smile a parent gives a child who's about to learn a very important lesson the hard way. "With all due respect, High Counselor," she said, her voice carrying that particular tone humans use when they mean absolutely no respect at all, "I should remind the Council that Earth's history has a very specific pattern when it comes to ultimatums." Krell chittered dismissively. Yes, we've studied your species' psychological profile extensively. Your kind fears conflict, preferring to solve problems through what you call diplomacy and trade. That's precisely why we chose this approach." The laughter that bubbled from Sarah's throat sent an unexpected chill through the chamber. "Oh, honey," she said, using that delightfully condescending human expression, "you really should have paid more attention in history class." That's when everyone's data pads started pinging simultaneously. The humans had just activated something called Protocol Thermopylae. The next few minutes were pure chaos. Reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Remember those merchant vessels humans had been sending to every major trade hub over the past decade? Turns out they weren't exactly filled with spare parts and entertainment media. By the way, Sarah announced to the stunned chamber, "Those weren't navigation beacons we've been helping everyone install." "Well, they are, but they're also quantum entanglement communication nodes. You've literally been helping us build our wartime command network." Krell mandibles dropped. But your ships, they're so poorly armed compared to ours." "Are they?" Sarah's smile grew wider. "Or did we just let you scan exactly what we wanted you to see? You do realize humans invented the concept of a movie prop, right?" The chamber's holographic display suddenly lit up with thousands of signals. Hidden human ships, previously masked by what they later called Project Hollywood, dropped their camouflage. The supposedly weak human vessels suddenly bristled with weapons that definitely weren't in any galactic database. "Fun fact about humans," Sarah continued, now perched casually on the speaking podium, "we're not actually afraid of war. We're afraid of what we become during war. There's a difference." Admiral Zenaval of the Regelian Defense Force stood up, his scales shifting to a pale yellow of concern. "But our analysis of your entertainment broadcast clearly showed your species' aversion to conflict. All those stories about peace and cooperation." Sarah actually snorted at that. "You based your analysis on our entertainment? Did you perhaps notice that we create those stories because we're so good at warfare? They're aspirational, not documentary. For every story about peaceful first contact, we have 100 about humanity kicking alien ass across the galaxy. We literally have a genre called humanity. Fuck yeah." The council chamber erupted in panicked discussions as more reports came in. Human ships had appeared in every major system. Their civilian space stations were unfurling weapon systems that made Krell most advanced dreadnought look like a child's toy. "Oh, and those cultural exchange programs we've been running," Sarah added, clearly enjoying herself now. "Yeah, turns out humans are really good at making friends. Really, really good. Ambassador TX Laurie, why don't you tell everyone about the Special Forces training program your people's warriors have been participating in?" The towering Andraxian ambassador shifted uncomfortably as all eyes turned to him. "The humans, they taught us things. Things about warfare that we had never. Their methods are insane," Sarah offered helpfully. Yeah, we get that a lot. Did you know that before we developed powered flight, we used to jump out of perfectly good aircraft with just pieces of silk to slow our fall? For fun. The Council's tactical display was now showing something even more disturbing. Dozens of previously neutral species were declaring their alliance with humanity. The Andraxians, the Balaxi Horde, even the notoriously isolationist Quantum Collective, all of them had apparently signed secret military pacts with Earth. Here's what's going to happen, Sarah said, her voice now carrying the weight of someone who knew they held all the cards. The Council is going to rescind its containment order. Then, we're going to have a nice, long chat about reforming this whole system of yours. Because frankly, it's a mess. And if we refuse, Vex Thorian managed to ask, his tentacles now a pale shade of fear. Then you get to find out why every species that's actually gotten to know us is now on our side. Sarah's smile turned predatory. Did you know that humans have a saying? Make friends with everyone you meet, but plan to kill them. We're literally programmed to prepare for both friendship and warfare simultaneously. It's exhausting, really. I watched as the reality of the situation sank in for the council members. They had assumed humanity's diplomatic overtures were signs of weakness, their technological sharing a gesture of submission. Instead, they had spent the last decade helping humanity build the infrastructure for their own potential defeat. All those trade deals, Sarah continued, clearly on a roll now. The ones where we seem so eager to share our entertainment technology? Guess what runs on the same frequency as our quantum targeting systems? Those cultural exchange students? Every single one of them is a trained military officer. Hell. Even our actual tourists are more dangerous than your special forces. You try growing up on a death world with 1G gravity and see what it does to your combat capabilities. The council chamber was dead silent now, except for the continuous ping of updates showing just how thoroughly humanity had prepared for this moment. Oh, and my personal favorite, Sarah added, pulling out what looked like a small silver disc. Remember how we convinced everyone that humans collect commemorative coins from different worlds? Yeah, these are quantum-locked data storage devices. We've been mapping every single one of your military installations for years. Your people literally paid us to spy on you. This is impossible, Krelthak stammered. Your species has only been part of the galactic community for 15 cycles. Exactly, Sarah beamed. And in that time, we've managed to completely infiltrate your society, make allies of your strongest members, and build a military network right under your noses. Imagine what we could do as friends instead of potential enemies. That's when the most remarkable thing happened. High Counselor Vex Thorian, the same being who had smugly called for humanity's containment just minutes ago, started laughing. Not the nervous kind of laughter, but the deep, genuine appreciation of someone who finally gets the joke. Ambassador Chen, he said, his tentacles now glowing with an entirely different kind of light, I believe we may have severely underestimated your species. Oh, honey, Sarah replied. Using that expression again, that's what everyone does. The real question is, are you going to be smart about this, or do we need to show you exactly why every species that's actually fought us is now our strongest ally? The vote to rescind the containment order was even faster than the one to implement it. Funny how the prospect of facing an enemy who's spent years preparing for exactly this moment can change people's minds. As the chamber cleared out, I managed to catch up with Sarah. That was quite a show, I said, my recording tentacles still tingling from all the activity. She winked at me, another human gesture I'd grown fond of. The best part, she whispered, we actually do love peace. We're just really, really good at war because we've spent our entire history trying to make sure we never have to fight another one. Ironic, isn't it? As I watched her walk away, I couldn't help but think about how the council had misread everything so badly. They saw humanity's desire for peace as weakness, their friendliness as submission, their technological sharing as naivety. They forgot the most important rule of galactic politics: species don't survive on death worlds by being weak. These days, the Galactic Council looks very different. Humanity's reforms actually made it more efficient, more fair, and ironically, more peaceful. Turns out that when everyone knows you can fight but choose not to, they take your peaceful overtures a lot more seriously. And that commemorative coin Sarah showed off? It wasn't actually a data storage device. That was just to mess with them. Though I hear the council members still get nervous every time they see a human pull out their wallet. You know what the really funny part is? Everything humanity told the council that day was true. They really did want peace. They really did want cooperation. They really did want to make the galaxy a better place. They just made sure they could kick everyone's ass first. Because that's what humans do, they prepare for the worst while working for the best. And as for those entertainment broadcasts the council so badly misinterpreted, Well, let's just say that after the incident, humanity, fuck yes stories got a lot more popular across the galaxy, though now they're filed under historical documentation. Instead of fiction. Oh, but you haven't heard the best part yet. The aftermath of what we now call the Great Revelation was even more entertaining. Let me tell you what happened in the cycles that followed. The changes started small, but they spread faster than a quantum virus through the galactic networks. First came the fashion trends. Suddenly, every species wanted to wear those purely decorative human glasses. The Arthonians even developed special models for their compound eyes, totally unnecessary, but they swore it made them look more diplomatically intimidating. But the real entertainment began during the first post-incident galactic military games. Traditionally, these were elaborate showcases where species demonstrated their martial prowess through carefully choreographed displays. The humans, being humans, suggested making it more interesting. You want us to do what High Admiral Vex Thorian, yes, Vex Thorian's offspring, asked during the planning session. Sarah Chen's daughter, Lisa, now humanity's new ambassador, grinned that same unsettling grin her mother had become famous for. Paintball. Trust me, it'll be fun. The resulting chaos was broadcast across every system in known space. Watching the traditionally stoic Rigelian honor guard dive rolling behind cover while covered in neon pink paint, or seeing the Quantum Collective's highest warriors trying to understand why humans found camping to be a viable combat strategy, it was pure gold. The Andraxians, of course, took to it like humans to coffee, another substance that had been mistakenly classified as a potential chemical weapon by the Old Council. They even started a cross-species league, though they had to ban the use of their natural camouflage abilities after what became known as the Invisible Paint Incident. Speaking of coffee, remember those trade deals Sarah mentioned? Turns out humans hadn't just been setting up military infrastructure. They'd been conducting the longest marketing campaign in galactic history. Within 3 cycles, coffee became the most valuable commodity in known space. The Balaxi Horde literally renamed one of their sacred months to cappuccino. It's simple economics, Lisa explained during a council session, while sipping from her world's most dangerous diplomat mug, a gag gift that had somehow become the most sought-after status symbol among galactic diplomats. We figured if everyone was as caffeine addicted as we were, nobody would want to risk disrupting the supply chains. But perhaps the most profound change came in how the galaxy approached problem solving. The humans introduced a concept they called wargaming, but not just for military scenarios. They applied it to everything: economics, cultural exchange, environmental management, even entertainment programming. You see, Lisa once explained to a group of bewildered council members, humans don't just prepare for war because we're good at it. We prepare for everything because we're paranoid as hell. We call it contingency planning, but really, it's just institutionalized anxiety made productive. The Galactic Academy of Sciences had to create an entirely new field of study just to analyze human decision-making processes. They called it calculated chaos theory. The basic premise was that humans simultaneously prepared for the best-case scenario, the worst-case scenario, and at least 17 increasingly improbable scenarios in between. Take the civilian ships that had revealed their military capabilities during the incident. Turns out they actually were civilian ships the humans had just made sure every civilian vessel could be converted for military use if needed. They called it dual-use technology, but really, it was just humans being humans. You built your merchant fleet so it could transform into a war fleet, a Proximan trade delegate asked during a commerce summit. Of course, Lisa replied, stirring her 7th coffee of the day. Doesn't everyone? No? Well, you should see what we did with our mining equipment. Nobody asked about the mining equipment. Some questions, the galaxy learned, were better left unasked. The humans' approach to education also sent shockwaves through galactic society. When they opened their military academies to other species, everyone expected brutal physical training and advanced combat techniques. Instead, the most popular courses were things like creative problem-solving 101 and advanced inappropriate use of common objects. Today's lesson announced retired human General Martinez to his multi-species class. We'll learn how to defeat an armored vehicle using only items found in an average kitchen. The really scary part, it wasn't even the most disturbing class in the curriculum. But perhaps the most unexpected development was the emergence of what humans called meme warfare. It started as a joke. Some human cultural attacks shared what they called a shitpost about the council incident, featuring High Counselor Vex Thorian's shocked face with the caption, "That moment when you realize the peaceful species has been playing 5D chess." Within days, the galactic information networks were flooded with similar content. The quantum collective, beings of pure energy and thought, became particularly fond of something humans called deep-fried memes. Nobody quite understood why, but it somehow resulted in 3 peace treaties and a major trade agreement. The thing about humans. Lisa explained during a diplomatic dinner where she had somehow convinced the traditionally carnivorous Andraxians to try vegan sushi, is that we turned our worst traits into our best assets. We're paranoid, so we prepare for everything. We're competitive, so we excel at everything we prepare for. We're social, so we make allies everywhere we go. And we're just crazy enough to make it all work. The Galactic Council's archives now include a special section labeled Things We Should Have Noticed About Humans. It includes entries like, they teach their children to play games about conquest and strategy from an early age. Chess, Go, Risk. Their entertainment often focuses on unlikely heroes defeating supposedly superior forces. They instinctively look for multiple uses for everything they create. They consider improvisation a valid military strategy. They find humor in almost everything, especially danger. They respond to threats by making friends with everyone else around the threat. But my personal favorite entry came from an anonymous council member. Humans don't actually fear war. They fear not being ready for it. The difference is subtle but significant. These days, the galaxy is a very different place. More peaceful, yes, but also more prepared. More unified, but also more diverse. The humans call it peace through superior firepower and really good dinner parties. The rest of us just call it the new normal. And that commemorative coin program? The humans finally admitted that some of them really were just commemorative coins. They just never specified which ones. As I said, institutionalized paranoia made productive. The really funny thing is, now every species tries to act more human-like in diplomatic situations, which means everyone is simultaneously trying to be friendly while maintaining a subtle air of I could totally take you in a fight, but I'd rather have coffee. The humans find this hilarious. As for Sarah Chen, she retired from diplomacy and now runs the most popular coffee shop chain in the galaxy. The name? The Art of War Cafe, because of course it is. You know what they say these days in diplomatic circles: make friends like a human, plan like a human, but never, ever assume you've figured out all their plans, because chances are they've got 17 more you haven't even considered. And that, my friends, is how the species everyone thought feared war ended up teaching the galaxy that the best way to avoid conflict is to be really, really good at it, while also making sure everyone is too busy enjoying coffee and paintball to want to fight anyway.